would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Caitlin Wells, and I'm a clinical dietitian. We're here at Sierra Vista Hospital. Well, my title is actually Clinical Nutrition Manager, and so my time is basically split between actually seeing patients as a clinical dietitian, and then I also take on more of a management role, doing things like our performance improvement data and more things with our patient services as well. So I'll probably just describe a day when I'm doing clinical, since that's maybe more applicable. But basically I would start my day and I get a list of patients every morning printed out, and I go through and I prioritize who I need to see based on things like their diagnosis, their diet order, when the last time I saw them, if I've already seen them and I need to do a follow-up, any kind of changes in their status, like for example if they went to tube feeding, things like that, or if we're consulted by a physician or a nurse or any other discipline here in the hospital. So once I figure out who I need to see, I usually come back and research the patients, look up their labs and their PO intake and all those things we look at. And then the next chunk of my day is usually spent in rounds. We do have daily rounds here at the hospital, both ICU rounds and on each of the other units. So that takes up a good hour and a half usually every day if I go to all of those. But it's helpful because you get the team approach and you get to hear really what's going on about every patient and give your input, and I find them very helpful. So after that, I'll just kind of go about my day and see patients, go talk to the ones I need to talk to, educate the ones who it's indicated for, all that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much the remainder of my day. At the end, I usually do more just little administrative things and call it a day. So. That definitely varies. I'd say average total patients that I contact, whether it's education, follow-ups, initial assessments, all that, probably 8 to 12 on average, something like that. Awesome. I'd say the best thing I think is just the variety. Even day to day there's a lot of variety, and then as a career as a whole I think there's a lot of opportunities in different areas so that you can bounce around. If you feel like you have had enough of one thing, you can always go do something else, and I think that that's probably the number one thing. I would say in my job right now as a clinical dietitian, I think that the world for clinical RDs is sort of evolving a little bit due to a number of things. Electronic charting I feel like has changed things quite a bit. It removes you a lot more, I feel like, from patient care, and so I think that I have to consciously make more of an effort on a day-to-day basis to actually go see my patients and talk to the team, and it's easier to be isolated, and I think that goes for all members of the interdisciplinary team, not just RDs. So I think that that's a little bit challenging, just kind of learning how to balance that with actually seeing your patients. And then also just, there's so many regulations now, from state regulations and federal regulations, Joint Commission, CMS, and it's sometimes challenging to not get bogged down in those regulations and really find a balance between providing the best patient care that you can while also abiding by all those rules and laws. So. The most important traits, well, I think there's a lot, but I would say creativity is a big one, especially now. I think that the traditional role of the dietitian, again, is changing, and also the areas that you're able to work in and find jobs are also changing, and you can be creative and sort of make your own path, and I think that's really exciting. But besides that, I think compassion is a big one, since you are working with patients, and some of these patients come to you as a last resort, and they've been refractory to a lot of other treatments, and nutrition can really help them. So that's pretty cool. And lastly, I would say persistence, because sometimes you have to be very persistent, especially in the hospital environment, to push for nutrition, push for your recommendations, and really have your voices be heard. So. I think the best advice I would give to students, and especially dietitians, or I guess students who are starting their internship, would be just to keep an open mind, because I think that there's so many things out there to experience, and by keeping an open mind, you're really going to discover what you like, because it may have been something you never thought you'd be interested in. I know that's true for me. Good luck to all the students out there, and we're so excited to have you as interns from Cal Poly. We love having students and teaching everyone, and yeah, best of luck in your future careers.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.